Is this Miss Jodie Bentley?
Yes, it is. Hello, David. How are you?
Hey. Jodie Bentley, for those of you that don't know, is are you a partner, president, CEO, chief, submariner? What's your title over at Accelerated Artist?
I'm gonna go with Chief Submariner. I
Yeah.
like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, good.
or CEO.
Yeah.
Either one.
There was a big story a few years ago being back in the 70s, about you know who Tom Peters is, right? Tom Peters, if you don't know the name, he's was one of the business gurus of the 70s and 80s.
Okay,
The books that talked about customer service and all the things that we
got it.
take for granted today, Tom Peters wrote about back then. And he talked
Sure.
about the fact that people are often motivated not by money, but by title. And that a woman that worked at a place for a long, long time, she never asked for a raise, like her husband made a lot of money or something. She never asked for a raise,
Yeah.
but she ended up with a title that was something along the lines of Chief U-boat Commander or something that, like she would give somebody her business card and there. Anyway, so going with Chief Submariner, tell me a little bit about what Accelerated Artist is before we talk about your burgeoning audiobook career.
Right. Yeah. At Accelerated Artist, we coach and train artists of all kinds now. We expanded from just actors to now dealing with directors, writers, producers to really hone what your brand is, find your niche in this industry, and learn how to package and sell that to your right target audience.
Got it.
So it's
It's
giving them all the business skills they need.
so critical, so
Yeah.
critical to have business skills. If you were
Yeah.
to rank, like I tell my students that often people will hire actors that they trust business wise over actors
Yep.
that are better actors. It's like, how could you possibly make that decision? But they do. Can
Yeah.
you can you kind of really quickly explain why?
Well, talent is only part of the equation. I mean, most actors out there are talented in a certain degree and level, right? But I think if someone can trust in you and they know that you're going to be who you are all the time and show up and deliver and fulfill a brand promise that you're putting out in the world of this is me and this is how I do business,
Hmm.
then of course they're more comfortable doing business with you.
Yeah.
They would much rather do business with someone they can trust in, just to even show up and be professional and understand the ins and outs of how the business works than someone who can just read the lines better than someone else.
Got
You
it.
know, so yeah, I think business is it's even more so than talent half the time, and sometimes we can tell that too out there as well.
Anytime you've ever said to the television screen, how in the world did that person get that job? You can rest assured that it's most likely because they're good business people and they
Exactly.
are familiar to the rest of the crew. They've done this before. Yeah, they may not be the Meryl Streep of that category,
Right.
but they just know how to get the job done, and
Yeah,
producers really value that. So
they
if
do.
people want to get more information about Accelerated Artists, they go to acceleratedartist.com.
That is correct.
Wow, that's awesome.
Very
And I
smart.
can, and I can tell you that I have talked with Jody about a lot of things, and she is one of the smartest people I know. And talking about working with a company and having good business skills and so on. You've been working with ACX now for a year, a couple years. How long has it been since?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. So
Mhm.
what brought you to audiobooks as something that you wanted to do?
I was always interested in it when I lived in New York. I moved to LA just 2 years ago now. And I was always interested in it in New York City. And I would hear my friends talk about it, and some people were doing it. But to be honest, I didn't have the physical space to actually be able to do it in New York. And, our apartment was quiet, but not that quiet. And there was too many other factors that were like, nah, I'm not even going to consider that now. And then moving to Los Angeles, I was like, oh, I do have this space. Oh, it is quieter here. Oh, it might be time to go down this path. And that's when I reached out to you. And I needed a new commercial voiceover demo. And I was like, tell me about this audiobook class you got.
Yeah.
And that's really how it started. But I was been interested in it for a while. I just haven't had the space or time to pursue it.
So is the space that you're talking to me in right now the space that you use when you do your audiobook work?
No, no, this is my office. This is where I do all my accelerated work and business work.
Tell
No,
me
I
a
have
little bit about what you've got set up in your apartment, condo, home.
it's my apartment, our condo. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a big walk-in closet, and I have a portion of that I've sanctioned out for my studio. So
Okay.
I bought everything that you've told me to buy, David.
Okay. So you have an AT2020 USB Plus mic.
Correct.
You have Audacity. You have
Correct.
Levelator.
Correct.
You produce your books according to what we laid out for you, and it seems to be
Correct.
working. How many books do you have in the marketplace now?
I have 12 right now, and I just booked 2 more.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
So
pretty cool.
now, when you set everything up, and when you were starting to set everything up, and I told you, okay, you only have to spend a couple $100 to do this.
Yeah.
Did you question that? Did my sanity, my knowledge at some? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people, I'll say that to them, and they'll go, "Yeah, but what about the real stuff?" Or
Yeah.
they'll say, "That can't be true." A lot of
Right.
people that have a lot of equipment will usually say, "No, that can't be true."
Right.
So, did you question that at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, because also in my mind was like, oh, audiobooks, I need a big studio space. I need all this equipment. I need all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But when I realized that, oh, it's actually pretty simple,
Yeah.
the setup, then I was like, all right. I trusted you wholeheartedly. I
Mm-hmm.
might have some doubt in the back of my head, but
When was that doubt erased? Was it erased when you saw that first message of headed to retail on your first book?
um,
Or was it
no,
sooner
I
than
think
that?
it was sooner than that. It was literally, I think I laid down one audition and I booked it.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess that sounded good. I guess I'm just gonna trust in what I got and go for it, you know."
Great.
So yeah, so I was pretty confident after that.
Okay. Well, just to be clear, your auditions are not checked by ACX for technical standards, but I'm glad that you kind of were able to lean into it and relax into it, and it worked out
Yeah,
for you.
we're
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, after the first book was approved, though, there was definitely a sigh of relief of going, "Okay, it's standard. It's good," you
Got
know.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
And as you've moved through these now 12 to 14 books that you've done, what's been the biggest takeaway you've had in terms of just the mindset that you need to sit there for hours at a time and read someone else's work and bring it to life?
You know, I have to like it. I have to like the book first of all, which might not be someone else's criteria. But you know, I've been offered books that I've turned down
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to do that kind of book or wasn't paying enough or what have you. So I've been pretty lucky that all the books that I'm doing, I actually really liked, and I found something about the characters or the narrator that is just fun. So I think what gets me through those hours is I just love to tell stories. As an actor, I love to tell stories and then be able to be these characters. I like doing little character voices for them. That's more of how what I do as a
Mm-hmm.
narrator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think there's days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go in there and record for hours, but then you know I go, well, but I get to tell a story today, and I
Yeah.
get to be this character again today, and then once I'm in there, it's always fun.
Great.
So
So,
yeah.
working with ACX, have you found that it's been fun? It's kind of cool that they manage the process for you. What's been your experience there?
Oh, they've been phenomenal. I think they're so professional, so easy to use. If I ever have questions, they email right away. You know, I love all their sales logs and all the things they give you. I think they've just been phenomenal. It makes everything extremely easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were to, be asked by someone, "Hey, should I take class from me?
Uh-huh.
Is what I offer something that's of value?" What would you say to them?
I would say take class from David, and I've been telling everyone to take a class from
I
David.
appreciate that.
No, I literally had someone reach out to me maybe about 3 months ago and say, "Well, what have you, how, I've been trying to do audiobooks. How are you doing what you're doing?" And I referred them to your class. And then they didn't sign up for it. And then literally about a week ago, they're like, "Hey, can you give me some more advice on audiobooks?" I'm like, "I did it already. I said go to David." I'm like, because I don't know what your issues are. I don't know what you've done. I'm not going to, you know, like go to take a class. You need to take a class on this to really understand it. And I think your class is so comprehensive that it is everything that you need to really lay out a career in audiobooks.
Great.
Yeah.
Um, just one more thing about accelerated artists. When people
Yeah.
come to you for that kind of advice,
Yeah.
there's a lot of quote unquote opportunities in town. It seems like there's a lot of
Sure.
people standing around saying, "Yeah, I can help you. Pay me a lot of money."
Sure.
I personally have experience with your experience. I've heard you speak. I've heard you teach. We've
Mhm.
had conversations together over dinner.
Right.
Um, when you tell people about what you do,
Hmm.
what makes you different from the competitors that you have in this space, the other people that have, offered
Right.
training for money?
That's a great question. I mean, there are a lot of us that do this, and I think we're all very different. One thing that I think we do best at Accelerated, and I think what we help people the most with, is connecting the dots. Because we all know that we need to go after goals. We all know we need to look at our brand. We all know we need to market something. We know we need to sell something. We know it's about relationships. So there's all these pieces, and then some people will take a goals class here, and a branding class here, and a marketing class there, but they're still confused because they don't see how it all connects and how it makes a comprehensive business plan for them to actually move forward with confidence in their entire career and in all those arenas. So the biggest thing I keep hearing from our clients is, wow, now I get it. I get it. I see how all these pieces work together, and I feel like I have a solid business plan to move forward in all of it.
So, if you were to identify what the single biggest mistake that people who are new to acting, either in Los Angeles or in New York or in London or any other production center, makes when
Yes.
they arrive,
Yes.
what is that huge mistake that you see people stumbling over themselves all the time with?
I think it's that people start to quote unquote market themselves, because we hear our job as an actor is to market yourself. And marketing is a huge, elusive term, right? People don't even know what that really means. They think it's just a headshot and a resume and,
Hmm.
submitting on Actors Access, when there's 50,000 things we can be doing marketing. But I think people start marketing and they get all their tools and they get a reel or they do all this stuff without really understanding their niche, their brand, or where they fit. So then, about 6 months to a year later, they go, oh, now I understand how I'm perceived in the industry. And now they have to get all those marketing materials again and create a whole new marketing strategy because they weren't marketing themselves properly, because they didn't do the foundational work to understand how their product is viewed in the industry.
How do you talk with people who find their brand
Yeah.
and are not happy with it? I mean, I have a brand. It's creepy evil villain. Look at me. I'm hoping for injury because it makes me creepier, right?
Ah.
Um, but there are people who find their brand and
Yeah.
go, "What? I'm a secretary? Wait,
Right.
I'm the guy next door. I'm not the ingenue. I'm not the leading man."
Yeah.
But how do you come to grips with once your brand is either handed to you, as it was to me? I mean, I thought for sure I
Sure.
was going to be like, nutty guy next door, frat boy that never grew up, but no, it was handed to me, creepy evil villain, and I love it.
Right.
But I realized very clearly that there could have been disappointment in, oh, that's what I get to play. How do you handle that?
Yeah. That's a great question. I mean, and some people they can
My
wear the.
job is to
Go ahead.
ask great questions of Jodie Bentley. So go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's good. And I love how you said that. It's like you embraced your brand, right? You embraced it and fell in love with it.
Wrapped my arms around it, had
Yeah.
sex with it. I was ready to
Per-
go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to maybe half the people out there, and the other half aren't as clear. And so I think one way that we talk about brand, I think the only way to have longevity in this business is to think of it this way, because there is the external perception that the world sees of who you are, right? And then there's your own perception of self that you carry in your brain, right?
Hmm.
About
Hmm.
what who you are and how you want to show up in this world.
Right.
And sometimes they mesh and sometimes they don't. And I think the best way to have longevity in this business is to find a way to merge them. So if you're getting this external perception of, say, creepy villain, and maybe you weren't happy with that, well, how do you want to
Evil, creepy villain to you.
evil.
Evil,
Evil.
creepy villain. Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Sorry. Great. You
You
creepy
want to
villain.
be specific when you do your branding, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Okay.
But perhaps, being that evil just didn't sit right with you because, you grew up in such a loving household, and warmth and caring and nurturing was a big part of you.
Yeah.
Well, if we look at a lot of villains on TV, though, too, there is some, like, they think they're being nurturing. They think they're being loving. They think they're being kind. I'm helping you by doing this evil thing. So I think that it's finding a way to go, okay, but what are my values in life and how do I want to show up? And how can I make it merge? So maybe I am evil, creepy villain with who cares, or evil, creepy villain with a heart. And then how does that make you different from other evil, creepy villains?
Sure. Sure.
And it's framing and finding the merge of those. And it also comes down to packaging. For example, if anyone Googles my name, you will see years of photos with me with super duper curly hair. And that put me in an arena of comedy, sitcom, sidekick, funny gal. However, my goal shifted over the years. I wanted to do drama. I want to do scandal. I want to do House of Cards. I'm, the lawyer, the CEO. I am a CEO. I wanted to play more of those roles. So I straightened my hair, and all of a sudden people see me that way. So I think there's a way to package yourself to be seen the way you want to be seen as well. That still is your brand, still is you.
So if you don't know what your brand is, or you know what your brand is and you're not happy with it, or you don't know how to market yourself, or you don't know how to package that brand, or pretty much if you don't know anything or enough about the business, Jodie is who you should talk to. And again,
Yeah.
acceleratedertist.com. That's
Yes.
acceleratedertist.com is where you want to go. Jodie, I'm so thrilled for your success. I'm so happy that you're having fun doing audiobooks and acting and your business and everything else. And I really appreciate you being on the line with me. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Well, I'm grateful for you, David, for helping me do that whole avenue in my career that I didn't even know was there until I moved here. So thank you.